Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानजानशालाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयप्रताकस्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमाचार्यपदाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथा दामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 6, Text 27. Tara Hema Mahat
26
Ratna.
Mataji.
Okay, text 26.
Yes,
Jayostat
Mataji.
Snana Vibrashta Nava Kunkuma Pinjaram Vitrishopi Pibanti Amba Payayanto Gaja Gaji. After the damsels of the heavenly planets bathe in the water, it becomes yellowish and fragrant due to the kunkuma from their bodies. Thus, the elephants come to bathe there with their wives, the she elephants, and they also drink the water, although they are not thirsty. So, this is um, Alakapuri. This is, they all came to Kailas to satisfy Lord Shiva. Brahma brings all the devatas to satisfy Shiva, and this is the description of Kailas. And there you find that the heavenly planets, all the damsels come to bathe in that water, and it becomes yellowish due and fragrant due to the kunkuma from their bodies. And then the elephants also come with their wives to bathe and drink the water. So it's Tarahema Maharatna Vimana Shata Sankulam Jushtam Punyojana Stribir Yathakam Sat Satadid Ghanam. The airplanes of the heavenly denizens are bedecked with pearls, gold, and many valuable jewels. The heavenly denizens are compared to clouds in the sky, decorated with occasional flashes of electric lightning. The airplanes described in this verse are different from the airplanes of which we have experience. In the Srimad Bhagavatam and all the Vedic literatures, there are many descriptions of Vimana, which means airplanes. On different planets, there are different kinds of airplanes. On this gross planet Earth, there are airplanes run by machine. But on other planets, the airplanes are run not by machine, but by mantric hymns. They're also used specially for enjoyment by the denizens of the heavenly planets so that they can go from one planet to another. On other planets, which are called Siddha Lokas, the denizens can travel from one planet to another without even airplanes. So why from this Earth, it's very difficult to go to other planets. We have to really, try hard and with these machines. And then even after reaching there, we're not able to see anything there. So we are not meant to go there. We have to get a lot of punya. We have to do a lot of punya karmas to be eligible to be born in the heavenly planets. And then we get all this access. And then the airplanes are also different, which are being powered by mantras. So we don't have any idea in modern life about how mantras have an effect on material objects. or even among on human beings. Mantras are very, very powerful. They could make weapons. We've seen Mahabharata, Ramayana and all, they just used to chant mantras and release the weapons. And it was not only your expertise in, how skilled you are in leaving the weapons, but more than that, it is also your meditation or your concentration in chanting the mantras. Then they become very powerful. That is why they could release with one arrow, and that arrow used to multiply into several arrows and then go and kill so many of them. That is how they could, single-handedly deal with thousands of people, a Maharati, Atirati, and all that. Single-handedly, they could kill, fight with so many people. That is how, because of mantra, then amazing things happened. So that is why essentially our knowledge, Vedas, consists of all rituals, mantras. This is what all the Vedas are dealing with, and that is education. And then after that, that is for material things also, mantra chanting was there. For prosperity, the Samhitas, the Vedas are 4, and then they are divided into Samhitas. Each Veda is divided into Samhita, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishad. So Samhitas are for, reciting for prosperity and all that. Brahmanas are also for the Grihastha ashram, maybe, getting a child and other things. Then Aranyakas are for Vanaprasthas who want to, become a little renounced and all that. So Aranyakas are more, not so much for, some material desires, but for spiritual advancement. And the topmost, among the Vedas, Upanishads are considered the best because they talk about Atma, Paramatma, spiritual truths. So we can see everything was governed by mantra chanting in the Vedas. And that is why the Brahmanas, because they were the most self-controlled, spiritual. So education means basically chanting mantras. Because when you perform yajnas, Krishna says, only through yajnas, you can be prosperous materially, everything can be satisfied and you can live happily. Then, and also Vedas consisted of Upavedas also. And these Upavedas are branches from each Veda, like Rig Veda, you have medicine science, which is Ayurveda. Then from Rig Veda, that is Yajur Veda, you have Dhanur Veda. So that is military science. Then from Sama Veda, you have what is that? Gandharva. This thing, all that is to do with arts and arts, because music, arts, dance, and all that. And then you have Atharva Veda. You have, what is the last branch? Dhanur Veda, Ayurveda, medicine.
Samved.
Huh?
Samved, Mataji.
No, Samved is arts.
Yajurveda, Mataji. Yajurveda.
Veda is Atharva Ved, but the Upaveda branching from that is Dhanurveda, Ayurveda, then this Gandharva thing, and one more. What do we have? What is left out? Science, arts, medicine. What else is there?
Was it anything to do with cooking or something?
No.
No.
That will all come under Gandharva, maybe. The 4 broad categories. What is the other one? Dhanurveda, Ayurveda, is one more. Okay. So they had this material sciences also.
Mataji, Rigveda, Mataji.
No, Rigveda is there. Rigveda, I said, from Rigveda, Ayurveda came out. Then second, Yajurveda, then you have Dhanurveda. Samaveda, then this Gandharva dances and all that. Because Samaveda itself is music. Atharva Veda, what is the last Veda which, all the material things, what do we require? Medicine, military, arts, and
Vanigya, Mataji? Anything to do with Vanigya, mercantile?
No. Politics. This, what is it called? Politics is called
Rajavidya,
Rajashastra, Rajavidya.
Arthashastra. Arthashastra. Arthashastra might include economics, politics, all that. So we have Upavedas which are dealing with that, and that is okay. That means that also, like Ayurveda consists of herbs and other things. So, but basically for prosperity, you have to chant mantras, Vedas. So the Brahmanas were considered the topmost, the source of all prosperity. They have to do yajnas, and when the devatas are satisfied, there'll be rains, and then also so many things will be available. And so we can understand how that is the way to live, and then automatically you make spiritual progress also. Because if you're spiritually...
Mataji, Shilpa Veda deals with architecture, Upveda of Atharva Veda.
Okay. What else?
There are 4 Upvedas. Dhanurveda deals with art and warfare. Upveda of Yajurveda. Gandharva Veda deals with art and music. Upveda of Samveda. And Shilpa Veda deals with architecture. Upveda of Atharva Veda.
Okay. Shilpa Vidya, and also must be, I also saw it is, what is it called? What Veda did I tell you? Arthashastra. Because we have all that also, na? Where that is where Chanakya took it from, no? Samdam, then Ved, and Shilpa Shastra. Okay. So anyway, so we have all, whatever is required, all coming from Vedas, which is also spiritually progressive. So this is how it is there in this heavenly planets. Here also it was like that. But because we stopped having faith in Brahmanical culture, Brahmanas themselves became greedy, and they thought, I also want sense gratification. So the quality fell down. And then afterwards, of course, British came, and the Hindus, then they didn't have so much. They were, polluted by Brahmanas, got polluted. And because of that, they couldn't help it also. And then they said, we'll give you nice jobs, you stop your Gurukul system. And so the decadence happened. And then they taught them science and technology. You don't need God. You can exploit nature on your own. No need to perform yajnas. So that's where Brahmanas thought, no need. We will stop all our studies. And this Veda and Upanishads and all that is no use. It's not going to give us money, right? What is going to give money is science and technology. That is how we've come down so badly. And the science and technology, you have to work hard and hard and hard, because your finer qualities are not developed. Spiritual qualities are not at all developed. You become more coarse and greedy. And so what happens? Just become more greedy and lusty. And all these problems are coming only because of that. Just imagine those days, if you follow Krishna's path, according to the 4 Vedas, will only get elevated, and there'll be all prosperity, peace for everyone. And everyone, there is no question of just making lots of money and enjoying yourself. Everybody, there was enough for everybody, and everyone just acted according to their own swabhava. If you are a Brahminical type, then you'll automatically opt for that. Or you're a Kshatriya type, you'll go for that. Vaishya, business, and Shudra, other services. And nobody looked at it derogatorily on each other, because the goal of all that was self-realization. Goal was not how much money somebody made, how many cars and this. And those days, of course, money was counted by gold, silver, all those. And how much that metals you possessed, and then cows and land and all this. So how much, okay, some people had that desire for that. I mean, nature, like Vaishya, mostly Kshatriyas, they could own a lot of this thing because they were sacrificing their life for, an administration. So they could have, and Vaishyas also possess some wealth by trading. But Brahmanas didn't have at all. They were not supposed to hoard only. Whatever they got as charity, they would immediately give. But in return, they didn't get charity for nothing. They were educating, performing all yajnas. And because of them only, actually, all the prosperity happened. So everybody, because the goal was self realization or God realization, automatically, you know, um, everybody had to perform their duty properly. Everyone can become God realized. Even being a Shudra doesn't mean you will not become God realized. Shudra had his own norms, duties to do. He had to serve the other three classes, other three castes, but very humbly. And those other three castes have to completely take care of the Shudras' every need, not pay so much in money, gold, and all that, because they'll misuse. Shudra means one, it's not by birth, but one who just wants to enjoy himself. He doesn't want any restriction, no self restraint like the Brahmana and even the other castes. They had little more self control and austerities. They just wanted to enjoy themselves. Okay, enjoy. But you won't be given the independence, and be humble if you're not respected. But in return, they'll be completely taken care of. So this is divine society, and very peacefully everyone can flourish. No competition, no greed, no working night and day without any time to enjoy oneself, even not even to take pleasure out of your family life. Even that is not there in today's world. So we see how defying Krishna's laws, where it has taken us. I don't know whether people will again come back to Varnashrama, though that is the aim. Prabhupada also said that it can. But right now, it doesn't seem like, because the whole world is based on technology. But what is happening? This money is just based on empty paper. Prabhupada always said, gold only lasts. This paper currency, what is the value of this? It has to be backed by gold. But then America, it started printing a lot of money, and everybody thought dollar is even better than gold. And people started, having only dollar. The whole world currency is based on dollar. And now what is happening is many of the countries, especially in Europe, India, China, and Russia and all, not Russia, I think, but these countries are not Europe, Middle East, India, China, they're all buying up a lot of gold and trying to keep reserves because that is the real this thing. Once dollar comes down, and then what happens? Then there'll be multi currencies, not only one single currency. America's influence will also come down, and gold reserves is the real this thing of wealth. That is, as Prabhupada always said, gold is what you should not, this paper currency will fluctuate, inflation. So people, even in the Gulf, they're not bothered now about dollars, because they know dollar value is coming down. And then as it is, half the money they've misused in all these wars and attacks and terrorism. Most of the money they've spoiled. Half the money, whichever they've got and they are saved, if it is linked to dollar and dollar comes down, their money will also come down. So they don't want to link it to that. Now everybody is interested in storing gold. So we can see that gold, which is the real uh, sign of prosperity or wealth, was in abundance because of chanting mantras. Everything is based on nature. And so that is why the Vedas were enough. If you studied the Vedas, there were some Brahmanas who knew how to recite the mantra and perform yajnas for the society. There was prosperity for everyone. There's some Brahmanas were only, everybody was not Brahmana. Very few Brahmanas, they chanted Vedas and performed the yajnas, and there was peace and prosperity for everyone. Of course, all others respected the Brahmanas also. They were following the instructions and guidance of the Brahmanas, and Brahmanas were elevating everyone to God consciousness. So automatically it was there. The same thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. Even 1% of the population, they become devotees, chant Hare Krishna, do all devotional services. There'll be peace and prosperity for all. It is the same practice, except that now, because there are not those kind of yajnas and all, only Sankirtana Yajna. And that anybody can become a Brahmana by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That's the best purification. The more we chant, Prabhupada, somebody asked Prabhupada, what is the use of chanting? I mean, no, what is the result of chanting? Prabhupada said, result of chanting is more chanting, because now as we are chanting, it's full of offenses. But as we chant, those offenses are getting reduced, sins are getting reduced. So our chanting will become better and better. So this is the best purificatory process. Of course, we think, okay, let's go bathe in the rivers, we'll go through the mountains, and we'll visit dams and so many other things we do. But the best purificatory method is chanting itself. Chanting removes all our anarthas and makes our chanting purer. So the more we chant, the better, more purified will be. And then it will have an effect even on society, because we are performing yajna, just like the Brahmanas. Of course, we cannot have vimanas and all. That is not meant for the earth. But we have to do with this material airplane only. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never said that you're going to become like those days, all mystic power and all that. No, only that we'll get the blessings and all this thing will be there. Of course, on the earth, during the time of, like Karadama Muni and all that, he built a big palatial thing. That was all in Satya Yuga. Right now, we can see the effect of mystic power, that you chant Hare Krishna mantra and then all peace and prosperity comes. You don't have to slog. Because what is the point of slogging when everything is coming from nature? That is why Prabhupada said, you're like donkeys, Donkey can very easily go and eat grass. It is free over there. But it thinks that it has to work for a master, the dhobi, and because it's working day and night, then the master will give some grass for it to eat. That grass is freely available. So he said, you're all donkeys, mudas. So the same way, nature is providing, everything is coming from God. But we are making our life very, very artificial, and we want to make all these, something, we want to make machines. We want to, and the manufacturing machines and other things which are not required at all. Why do we need all those machines? And then we fall sick because of not having physical health. Then we go to the gym. Again, lots of machines over there. So do jogging and lifting and all this. You just lead a normal, healthy life, doing whatever physical labor is there. You'll be perfectly healthy. There's no need of all this. So that is what ultimately we'll come back to our roots once again, and we'll realize, no need of all these machines. Just some bare amount. Actually, maybe we are heading in that direction, because they're saying artificial intelligence will take care of running of most of the things. Then most people will be unemployed. So what they can do, they can lead varnashrama. Some become brahmanas, and of course, for military, this thing, you need people. And agriculture also, maybe robots will do the job. So that's what, so many people will have a lot of free time, so they can all become devotees. Varnashrama can be established maybe that way. And they do all their jobs very peacefully. Hope it comes back like that. Otherwise, it's crazy. It's getting crazier by the day. On different planets, they're also used specially for enjoyment by the denizens of the heavenly planets, so that they can go from one planet to another. On other planets, which are called Siddhalokas, the denizens can travel from one planet to another without airplanes. The beautiful airplanes from the heavenly planets are compared here to the sky because they fly in the sky. The passengers are compared to the clouds. And the beautiful damsels, the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets, are compared to lightning. In summation, the airplanes with their passengers, which came from higher planets to Kailasa, were very pleasant to look at. So the passengers are compared to the clouds. So the men are compared to the clouds. And the beautiful damsel are compared to lightning. So they were looking very beautiful to see. Hitva yaksheshwara purim vanam saugandhikam chatat drumai kama dughair hridyam chitramalya phalachadai. While traveling, the demigods passed over the forest known as Saugandhika, which is full of varieties of flowers, fruits, and desired trees. While passing over the forest, they also saw the regions of Yaksheshwara, whose Yaksheshwara is also known as Kuvera, and he is the treasurer of the demigods. In the descriptions of him in Vedic literature, it is stated that he is fabulously rich. It appears from these verses that Kailas is situated near the residential quarters of Kuvera. It is also stated here that the forest was full of desire trees. In Brahma Samhita, we learn that the desire tree which is found. In Brahma Samhita, we learn about the desire tree which is found in the spiritual world, especially in Krishna Loka, the abode of Lord Krishna. We learn here that such desire trees are also found in Kailash, the residence of Lord Shiva, by the grace of Krishna. It thus appears that Kailasa has a special significance. It is almost like the residence of Lord Krishna, just like Shiva is almost like Krishna, only little bit touch of this tamoguna. So Kailasa is also almost like Vaikuntha. And then there are desire trees there also in the residence of Lord Shiva by the grace of Krishna. That is there. He is not independent. Raktakanta Kaganika Swaramandita Satpadam Kalaham Sakula Preshtam Karadanda Jalachayam. In that celestial forest, there are many birds whose necks were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swans, as well as strong stemmed lotus flowers. The beauty of the forest was intensified by the presence of various lakes. It is described herein that the lakes were decorated with lotus flowers and with swans who played and sang with the birds and the humming bees. Considering all these attributes, one can imagine how beautiful this spot was and how much the demigods passing through enjoyed the atmosphere. There are many paths and beautiful spots created by man on this planet Earth, but none of them can surpass those of Kailasa as they're described in these verses. Nature is the most beautiful. Buildings, how long you can see it? Man has only made buildings and he destroys all natural things. Bangalore was also considered as such a beautiful city, and all the lakes were there. Most of them are dried up, and people have filled it up and put up buildings on top of that. And then they are constantly making it worse and worse by removing so many trees. So that is what man can do. But by Krishna's mercy, the nature's beauty is what makes a place very, very, pleasing. Vanakunjara Sangrishta Harichandana Vayuna Adipunya Janastrinam Muhur Unmatayanmana. All these atmospheric influences unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and the blowing wind agitated the minds of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment. Purport. Whenever there is a nice atmosphere in the material world, immediately there is an awakening of the sexual appetite in the minds of materialistic persons. This tendency is present everywhere within this material world, not only on this earth, but in higher planetary systems as well. In complete contrast with the influence of this atmosphere on the minds of the living entities within the material world is the description of the spiritual world. The women there are hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in this material world, and the spiritual atmosphere is also many times better. Yet, despite the pleasing atmosphere, the minds of the denizens do not become agitated because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritualistic minds of the inhabitants are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of the Lord that such enjoyment could not be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is the culmination of all pleasures in the material world. In other words, in the Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better atmosphere and facilities, there is no impetus for sex life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Param Drishtva Nivartate. The inhabitants are so spiritually enlightened that in the presence of such spirituality, sex life is insignificant. So in Kailasa, because it's here there in the material world, so there when the devatas, especially devatas, they still have this desire for sex enjoyment, and um, so they get disturbed, agitated in this beautiful surroundings. Um, and in the later part of the Bhagavatam, we'll see the description of Vaikuntha, and where the denizens are described and how they fly around in their beautiful airplanes, and they are engaged in serving Narayana. And even though they're very, very beautiful and so on, but they are not disturbed by sex desire. There are families and there are men and women, and they are attracted, but then they do seva to Krishna, and so they have no desire for this. So that is why all the four regulative principles, illicit sex, how did they, I mean, especially in Western culture, completely illicit sex is, it's not even considered illicit. Anything you can do, that's your right, right to happiness. Because you have a right to happiness, and if you want sex indulgence makes you happy, go ahead and do it. Nobody can stop you. It's your freedom. So such a culture also, when they came and to Prabhupada and they started serving Krishna, chanting, serving Krishna and all that, so they became so much enlivened by that, that some of them even took sannyas. And the others, okay, we'll get married to one person only and we'll live together and serve. Prabhupada said, don't see how many people fell. See how many people are actually following it. That is the miracle. So that is why when we engage in Krishna's service, then you can follow, self-control. You don't need family planning methods. That's what Prabhupada said, because in earlier times, of course, they had more children also. They didn't say only hum do, hamare do and all that. And now only ek, hum do, hamara ek. Or the latest is hum do, hamara koi bhi nahi. हम दो रहेंगे, दो भी रहने का, I don't know, it is a big saval. So, and that's why they could automatically because of having a higher taste in spiritual this thing, then one can be self-controlled. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Especially, and that is why we see in today's world, oh my God, what all people they get implicated uh, in misbehaving with women. All kinds of senior politicians. Yediyurappa, I was thinking, his 80-year-old, yeah, was so sad. What he's under is caught under POSCO Act is going to be questioned because there is no spirituality only. If there is that kind of taste in serving Krishna, then or there is a religious atmosphere everywhere, people also won't dress themselves in this horrible way, obscene way, which is um, you know attracting people in to lust. It is arousing their passions, and as it is, there are so many other things which provoke the advertisements and all kinds of pornography available. And so people's mentality, I don't know, we just see the outside. Just to wonder what kind of mentalities they have, we don't know. Because why is there so much crime going on and nobody feels safe at all anywhere? Immediately any girl goes, young girl traveling outside, it's like really going in a river filled with crocodiles. You don't know whether she'll come back safely. So, why is this? Because of no religiosity at all. And instead of understanding this great need, when parents don't bother about giving, oh, my children should have nice samskar, they should be taught in our religion, and they're not interested. Most of the parents, very few think about it even. And schools and institutions, they are horrible. For our Vedic Institute, we are going and asking schools, some schools are okay, but no, we don't want all this. They want only their secular education. Secular education. People also don't correlate. You keep complaining about, oh, it is not, men are like this, and then how do they want to solve the problem? They are thinking that men should be severely punished, then the crime will stop. It doesn't happen like that. People know you'll be punished. Why do people murder in spite of knowing I'll have to go to the jail and, entire life, maybe life imprisonment, or I'll be hanged? Still, why do they do crime? Because uncontrolled senses. Of course, if there is a deterrent of heavy punishment, to some extent it'll come down. Because if you think I've got big contacts, I know all the politicians, I have a lot of money, I can pay and get away, then of course there'll be probably a little more crime. But basically, even those who know that it's very severe punishment is there, still their senses, they're not able to control. So that is the main disease. And we can see how here clearly it is said spirituality and sex desire are on the opposite sides of the same pole. In the spiritual world, the same thing. They're all very beautiful, attractive, all that very nice surroundings. They're not attracted. But in the material world, because less, I mean, devatas are God conscious, but still they've got some amount of material desires. So they get attracted, they go to a beautiful place, and then they see they're very attractive, then they are aroused for enjoyment of sex. So that is the connection. I don't know when people will see that connection. Vaidurya krita sophana vapya utpala malini praptam kim purushair drishtva ta aradadrishair vatam. They also saw that the bathing ghatas and their staircases were made of Vaidurya Mani. The water was full of lotus flowers. Passing by such lakes, the demigods reached a place where there was a great banyan tree. So there were a lot of lakes, and then they had ghatas, bathing ghats, And their staircases were made of Vaidura money. And the water was full of lotus flowers. And they went by the lakes, and then they reached where there was a great banyan tree. Sa yojana shato shedha padona vitapayata paryakrita chala chayo nirnidhastapa varjita. That banyan tree was 800 miles high, and its branches spread over 600 miles around. The tree cast a fine shadow, which permanently cooled the temperature, yet there was no noise of birds. Generally, in every tree, there are bird nests, and the birds congregate in the evening and create noise. But it appears that this banyan tree was devoid of nests, and therefore it was calm, quiet, and peaceful. There were no disturbances from noise or heat, and therefore this place was just suitable for meditation. So for meditation also, natural settings are the best. You go sit inside a room. Better than that, this is the best. A huge tree, that too banyan tree, is very, very, dense, the leaves. And so there is a lot of shade and coolness, and then you can, and calm. Tasmin maha yogamaya mumukshu sharanesura dadrushu shivam asinam tyakta marsham ivantakam. The demigod saw Lord Shiva sitting under the tree, which was competent to give perfection to mystic yogis and deliver all people. As grave as time eternal, he appeared to have given up all anger. Purport. In this verse, the word Maha Yogamaye is very significant. Yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Maha Yoga means those who engage in the devotional service of Vishnu. Meditation means remembering, smaranam. There are 9 different kinds of devotional service, of which smaranam is one process. The yogi remembers the form of Vishnu within his heart. Thus, there were many devotees engaged in meditation on Lord Vishnu under the big banyan tree. The Sanskrit word Maha is derived from the affix Mahat. This affix is used when there is a great number of quantity. So Maha Yoga indicates that there were many great yogis and devotees meditating on the form of Lord Vishnu. Generally, such meditators are desirous of liberation from material bondage, and they are promoted to the spiritual world, to one of the Vaikunthas. Liberation means freedom from material bondage or nescience. In the material world, we are suffering life after life because of our bodily identification, and liberation is freedom from that miserable condition of life. So there were Shiva, that's why he doesn't need the whole nature. Sky is his roof. And, wherever he doesn't have a residence for himself. In fact, none of the 3, the Guna Avataras, they have a palace or something. Shiva is also residing in nature only. And Vishnu also is just lying down in the Anantasesha, and Brahmaji also sitting on the lotus. So Shiva sitting under this big banyan tree, so beautiful. I wish we had such a banyan tree here where everybody, no noise, nothing, and we can just sit there and meditate. We can chant japa. And it says that, yes.
That means only till the Swargaloka you find the opulence. Above the Swargaloka, then it is not, opulence may not be there. I mean, we never see here about, Brahma is sitting on a lotus and there's only nature may be there, no palaces or something like that.
No. Brahmaloka, I don't know. We have to do a little more this thing, but Brahmaloka is supposed to be most opulent there. And
because the places above Swarga, you see like Taparloka, Maharloka, these are all sages sitting there. What do they do with the opulences?
That's what. I don't know. Maybe, yes, maybe they don't have palaces, but nature is more opulent. That means more beautiful, like, than even, all these heavenly planets. Nature is more beautiful, like, all the lakes and the swans and the type of flowers and all that. Because it's even the girls in Apsaras in Brahmaloka are more beautiful than the Apsaras in Swargaloka. So, and they are more spiritually evolved also. And so all the sages, yeah, that's what. They won't be doing any sense gratification. They only do yajnas. Most of the time they are worshipping. Other times maybe they study something or like that. So there is no sense gratification and all much there. So yeah, that's what. They don't have probably big holes. They all probably are living in ashramas. Yeah, all these Brahminical sages. Why will they want to live in a huge palace? Brahmaji is the biggest Brahmana, greatest Brahmana. So, yes, that's what. They may not be big palaces and all that, but they look more beautiful and the nature is more beautiful. That is described. That Brahmaloka is the topmost and very nice. But yeah, they are simpler and simpler over there. And Mahayoga, and they're all meditating. Either they'll do perform yajna, rest of the time they'll be meditating. And they don't need to cook and all that. They don't need to work. They don't need to cook at all. They just, first of all, they don't feel hungry or thirsty. So probably they'll just be happy to eat fruits whenever, just out of this thing. Or they mystic power only they can probably and then Kailasa there is Kalpa Vrikshas. Oh, I feel like can you give me some gulab jamuns, and then immediately mystic power. Clothes are also through mystic power. They can just
गुलाब
think,
जामुन बोल रहे हैं।
if you just think, today I want to wear a purple dress and I want it like this, you just imagine, immediately it comes. So there is no need of anyone doing any job at all. So all the time, either in the Swargaloka, they have a lot of, this kind of dance and singing and going to Nandana and, all those romancing and all are there. But yeah, the heaven, higher planetary system, they're all more sattvic. So they just do yajnas, then rest of the time sit under the banyan tree and meditate or talk about some katha. Shiva gives Bhagavatam class. So it's all spiritual. Yes. And more knowledge, acquiring knowledge, hearing to, the Vedas and this, maybe all that. Four Kumaras are there, and more about self-realization. Yeah, they are. And God realization, yes. Sanandanaadhyair mahasiddhyai shante samshanta vigraham upasyamanam sakyacha bhartra guhyaka rakshasam. Lord Shiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of the Guhyakas, and the four Kumaras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. The personalities sitting with Lord Shiva are significant because the four Kumaras were liberated from birth. It may be remembered that after their birth, these Kumaras were requested by their father to get married and beget children in order to increase the population of the newly created universe. But they refused. And at that time, Lord Brahma was angry. In that angry mood, Rudra or Lord Shiva was born. Thus, they were intimately related. They were brothers, right? Kumaras and Lord Shiva. And thus they were intimately related. Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods, is fabulously rich. Thus, Lord Shiva's association with the Kumaras and the Kuvera indicates that he has all transcendental and material opulences, both transcendental and material opulences. Shiva. Actually, he is the qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his position is very exalted. So Shiva has got all opulences. And that's why those who worship Shiva become very materially prosperous. But only when you understand the purpose of life, it's not simply to become rich and enjoy yourself, then you go to Vishnu. Oh, I want to come out of this material world. I want to progress spiritually. Then you go to Vishnu. And of course, Vishnu also gives opulences, whatever, but he doesn't give if it's not good for us, or he uses his discretion and not too much. Just like how Shiva will give anything you ask, and so they can get fabulously rich things, which is not even required. Why do you need so much money? But those who are still very lusty to enjoy this material world, that's where they go to Shiva. But he himself, we can see how peaceful he is and just very, very, renounced. And he is meditating on Vishnu. Oh, it's already 9 o'clock. Okay, stop now. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?